Surrender is a little bit of a fraught and potentially upsetting word, or if it is associated with giving up, right? So the idea of contentment is not, well, you know, just be happy with what you have. It's not settling. Contentment isn't settling. So it's the idea of letting go of the attachment to what you think you should have, or the attachment to the kind of ego boost that you get when you feel accomplished. So because when you start to attach yourself to the sensation of feeling accomplished, proud, not to say those things are bad, but when you eventually, as you kind of reinforce your own attachment to those feelings, then your pursuit of happiness ends up being about stroking your ego, as opposed to actual contentment, which is Santosha, the Sanskrit word for contentment, which is just being at ease with what you have and where you are and who you are, which is one of the cornerstones of being able to meditate. So stilling your body obviously is asana, stilling your mind is pranayama, and then concentrating is the first step to meditation. And that stilling and concentrating cannot happen if you have an unhealthy attachment with accomplishment. So a couple of the other kind of heavy and potentially inflammatory words, concepts that go along with that are faith and, I wrote it down because I knew I had too many. So faith, so it's surrender, faith, and choice. And it's too big for me to write. I was like, how am I going to write all of this in one thing? And I know that this is too big, obviously, for one class, but bear with me. You know how this works. Bear with me. So the surrender piece becomes easier, surrendering in not giving up, but letting go of the attachment of accomplishment in a way that strokes your ego, has to be paired with a conceptualization of some kind of faith. So I consider myself a recovering Catholic, so faith is a very fraught word for me, right? So when I think about the concept of faith, I have faith in the practices of yoga and myself. Even if it's hard to see at this time, I know that if I practice and keep paying attention, then eventually I'll get where there is an ability to surrender and to make choices from a place that don't have a logical sense. Okay. So this is the groundwork for all of what we're doing today. We're doing twists and forward folds on our basic level. It's springtime, and we need to break it up and get rid of it so that we can spring, right? Okay, that's the ultimate plan. But mentally speaking, there's so much to dig out and to either assimilate into our being because it helps us live in a healthy and content way in the world, or get out. So that's the plan. Maybe I should have started with that, but I really wanted to work out the, thank you, okay. So to begin, we're gonna be returning to a balance of light in next week. Next week is the equinox. And so we're going to be doing a lot of balance related practices, nadi, shodhana, some vritti, stuff like that. Okay, so left and right sidedness, aware of how our dominance presents in our bodies, what that means for our mind, stuff like that. So let's just do deep breaths. So the idea of deep breathing, we begin in a very large and unfettered kind of way, no technique around it, inhaling, expanding with the inhalation, exhaling maybe a little forcefully with the exhalation, so we make noise, we allow ourselves to have that sensation of being settled and calm. Inhale is expansive and awakening, almost like a breeze blowing the fog out of your mind. Exhale is centered, calm. So even the physiological effect of the two halves of the breath have a balancing effect on our bodies and mind. Literally, physiologically, our heart rates increase with the inhale and decrease with the exhale. So at the very base, physical reactivity to the sensation and the effect of oxygenation in the body. We have an increase and an uplifting feel in the body, and then we have a lowered, centered, and kind of grounded. That lowered heart rate allows us to be calm. So then after we've taken a few deep and noisy breaths, we keep the depth of breath and then start to create containment. So you're inhaling from the top of the head and inflating down through the whole body to the ground, and exhaling up the central channel, central axis of the torso, from the perineum to the crown. Inhale and inflate. Sinuses are open, jaw is relaxed, throat is receptive, the neck is nice and long. Belly is receptive as well, and that's one of the things, especially at the beginning of class, that might be hard to get a handle on. Belly inflates out like blowing up a balloon. Sit bones feel pressed into the ground from the weight and expansiveness of the breath. Keep the ground, keep the press of the sit bones, and exhale back to center. Up. Inhale down, as if you were a balloon. The spigot for the air is right at the crown, right at the top of your head. Inhale. Samodriti means same fluctuation. You want to have the inhale and the exhale of the same length. Eyeballs focused on the floor in front of you are closed. Okay. So we're going to start asana on our backs. So you're going to move blankets on the way and roll down. We're going to do happy baby to start. So you might not be able to reach your feet, so shins, ankles, or maybe feet, if you can keep the shoulder blades down and away from the neck. You don't want to curl the top half of your spine off the ground to reach your feet. Long and smooth breaths here, allowing yourself to start to experience the way gravity changes in the form as you lay down. So hopefully, especially in this particular shape, you have a lot of access to the pelvis here. Let your breath move down and inflate through the thighs, really feeling open and expansive. And then again, exhaling and feeling calm and settled. You're going to put the soles of your feet on the floor. And arrange your arms in a way that feel comfortable, but also steadying to the rest of the form. We're going to begin twisting here. So maybe the hands go out, shoulder blades flush with the floor. Maybe the goalpost arms, something to this effect. Palms up or down, depending on how you feel grounded and steady. And then you're going to cross your right ankle over your left knee, keeping the right knee moving away from your belly. You're going to exhale. And you're going to rotate the legs over to the left side of your body. So the sole of your right foot touches down. Beautiful. And very gentle. Very just allow yourself expansiveness, feeling soft through the face. And you can roll on the back of your head if you haven't already. And let your face turn off to the right. And continuing with an evenness of breath. So 4, 5, 6 counts. Inhaling to whatever your number is, exhaling to the same number, feeling steady and calm. Feeling the stretch along the right side of the body out through the outside edge of that right thigh. And then when you're ready again to exhale, you're going to come back up to center here. Calm, centered and still. Take a deep breath in and switch.
Feet now to feet and knees to the right side of the body, left foot, sole of the left foot to the floor. This may or may not happen for your body. It's not crucial that it does. At least allowing yourself enough openness in the side to let the knees relax to the right as you roll the head off to the left. And allow the breath to work in the form, feeling yourself open and relaxed still in sinuses and jaw. Back of the neck is long, chest and ribs are expansive. As you exhale next, draw your abdomen in and use it as the grounding force to bring up the knees. Uncross the legs, give yourself a bit of a hug. Just a little rock side to side here. And we're gonna do a little bit of a lift, a little bit of momentum forward and back here to rock up towards your sit bones. You can do that 1 or 2 times, or 3 or 4 if you like it. I like this one, so I like to do it pretty regularly. Feels nice on the back body, feeling soft in the face and lowering the chin toward the chest. So you're gonna need a block for this next bit, which I did, unfortunately. Can I borrow that, please? Thank you. Okay, now here's how we're gonna sit. It's almost a bow pose prep. So you're leaning back a bit, soles of the feet are on the floor, and you're gonna take your block and squeeze it between your thighs. So we're gonna utilize the prop to gain some knowledge about how we work in our bodies with our musculature, right? So you can put your hands behind your thighs, on your shins, or behind you. This is where we're ultimately gonna be ending up. So you're leaning back, soles of the feet press, thighs squeeze onto the block. Then you want your feet in line with the kneecaps, parallel, outside edges parallel. As the thighs squeeze, feeling the inner thighs engage right to the groin, and then feeling the tops of the thighs engage to stabilize you. And you're gonna lean back with the fingertips pointing forward, keeping the elbows soft, the shoulder blades squeezed together. And this creates containment and lift in the chest so that you're not sinking into the back of the body. So alignment and steadiness in the ground are going to be very important as we move forward for our twists. So this is going to be a twist, keeping the bottom, the weight balanced on both sides of the bottom. You're going to turn your right fingers to your right. So for us in the studio, it's out 2 windows. You're going to release your left hand, and you're going to keep your bottom square, and you're going to let your contact forearm and knee or thigh here exactly. So these are the points through which we will be engaged and steady on our feet later. So when our bottom is free from the ground, we're going to need to rely on our musculature to create steadiness in the bottom so that we can be freed up in the torso and not clenching. So I want you to inflate out through your back body with your breath. Almost feel like you're leaning back a little bit. And the next time you're ready to inhale, let them revel in an inflating kind of way. And we'll do the same thing on the other side. So just revisit your low back. Notice the sidedness, the awareness of sidedness. You might feel a little crooked. Let's fix that. So you're going to lean back, length through the spine. Left fingertips point out to the left, and your right hand releases, and there's contact with the forearm and the outside of the thigh. So you want to remain aligned, shoulders relative to hips. You don't want to lean out to the left. Notice your weight balance, the distribution between the 2 sides of the hips here. Lean into the right side slightly. Exhale, tuck the belly into the body and just make it a true rotation, not a lean. Good. One of the ways that we can adjust and maybe relieve some tension in the elbow here. So rotate your arm inwardly and you're going to put your hand here. Yep. And as you bend your elbow, then both elbows really, you can allow yourself to feel open and engaged through the front and the back of the chest. Excellent. Inhale deeply, just like a balloon unraveling here, coming up to sit. So we're going to need, perhaps we might need a blanket here. Okay. So you're going to keep your left knee bending, extend your right leg out. So depending on your form and how this feels in your body this early in practice, you might need to have a pretty significant bend in the knee. This is also why we lifted our hips so that we don't have any low back roundedness. We want to start from a place of alignment. Allow yourself to breathe. Release through the face, long and smooth breaths. Check in with your breath, the quality of the breath and the length of each half of the breath. So again, groundedness in the hips provides a steady base to free the torso up from tension so that you can twist effortlessly and in an aligned way, which prevents injury. So the next time you're ready to exhale, you're going to turn your chest to face as much as it can the long leg. Again, finding alignment here and also finding enough space in the torso to be able to be inflating 360 degrees, as if you were an empty cylinder here. You want to lean back into your back body. If you have the tendency to be a little back bendy, as I do, allow yourself to kind of tuck back into the back of your body. And then if the reverse is true, if you have the tendency toward roundedness, then you have to lean forward a smidge just to give yourself a little lift in the front. So I want you to lean forward slightly, keeping your knee as bent as you need to respect your hamstrings. And what we're going to do here is just, it's almost a ringing out. I really enjoy this one. So you're going to inhale and you're going to turn and lift the top shoulder to face the front. And then as you exhale, you're going to squeeze and just kind of give your belly a little bit of a massage with your thigh. And if that's not realistic for your form, you're going to try to twist that top shoulder until it is the bottom shoulder here. And you're going to just, with the breath, move in this way. Inhale, little side bend action. Exhale then, and we're twisting into the leg. Soft face. You can turn your head to look back. On the breath, please. Inhale and open. So just one more time, inhale all the way and exhale and fold. And this might be much more mild for you. This is something you can do almost upright. There's still an effective openness and slight side body action. And the exhale squeezes the belly in and rolls. And then you breathe. Pausing, feeling that openness right from the back of your head down the side of the spine, all the way to that hip. Feeling the hips pressing firmly, the legs supporting. Soft face. Okay, come on up and we'll switch. Notice sidedness, right? So this is going to be easier or harder depending on what does dominant.
right? So alignment first, keeping the knee as bent as it needs to be, engaging in the thigh, kneecap lifts toward the hips. And as you exhale, then there's twist. Just a simple, straightforward kind of rotation in the torso. Allow yourself to look at your toes, or maybe the floor directly beyond your toes. Tongue away from the roof of the mouth. Okay. So you're going to fold it slightly, keeping the thigh engaged strongly, the heel pressing away, and as you inhale, you're going to rotate in the torso to lift that top shoulder up and expand long through the side body. Exhale, squeeze the belly in and rotate. One more time. Allow yourself then to pause and breathe. Getting some feedback between the thigh and the belly here for the sensation of breath and the flow in the belly, making sure that the breath is getting to the belly and that the belly is responsive in its expansion and subsequent deflation. And just gently tuck the abs up and in as you exhale. Deep breath in, inflate yourself up. Coming to sit in just a simple seated posture here. Settling into both sides of your hips, feeling nice and tall, and just noticing. Pause for a moment to breathe in this shape, see how you're feeling. Okay, we're going to do one more seated twisty thing, and it's a Kundalini Kriya, and it's fun to do. So we're going to make goalpost arms about parallel to the ground, and it's going to be right the shoulder blades tuck and stay pretty steady. I was going to say lock, but it's not about locking. You want to be pretty steady right in the rib cage. From kind of the breast upward, everything kind of is its own unit here. And so I would say take long and smooth breaths. So my own personal adjustment to this one is to move the body quickly and take long and smooth breaths. They would teach it, people who teach Kundalini Yoga of Yogi Bhajan would say inhale left and exhale right. I personally find that a little bit too fast and dizzying for me personally. So if I just take long and smooth breaths and do this, I get the benefit of the expansion of the belly and a little bit more of a vigorousness in this twist, which I find useful because I tend to be really tight right in that region. So then I kind of wring myself out, so to speak, almost like a washcloth. And if this one doesn't work for you, then you shouldn't do it. So if you have gained speed You're going to want to slow down. And then you're going to come back to center and again rest your hands on your thighs. Lowering the chin, letting the face be soft. Okay, now we're going to stand up. So let's just do, I have no head. I suppose I don't need a head. We're going to do just a couple dynamic flowy things to get ourselves ready to use our thighs and to balance, and then then we'll get into twisty stuff. So Tadasana first. Outside edges of the feet are parallel and the knees soften. Check in with your distribution of weight over the sole of your foot. So have an understanding of where you are habitually, and then allow yourself to move past your habit. So my personal habit is, you are well aware, so I reference it so often, is I am on my heel all the time. So I need to very purposefully shift my weight forward so I'm more over the whole of the bottom of my foot. That helps me to engage thighs, which usually don't get used. And all of that work supports and stabilizes my center of gravity so I can move more carefully and with less wobbling. It frees up my belly to be able to move. Not to say that my abdominals aren't engaged, but they also are not clenching. And then there's the sensation of lift, hopefully a feeling of effortlessness upwardly from the pelvic bowl through the top of the head. And allow yourself to soften in the face and gaze at the horizon. Tongue away from the roof of the mouth. And long and smooth breaths. So check in with your number. See how long it takes to get full of breath, even if you can imagine breathing to the soles of the feet and exhaling up the center line to the top of the head. So on the breath, as you're ready, you're going to lean forward and inhale, lifting the heels, lift the arms until you're full, and exhale and gently lower down. We're going to add to this. So we're going to continue to shift forward and lift the heels as we raise the arms and lengthen the side body, eyes steady. Exhale, release the heels and bend the joints in the knees and hips so we can move into a chair pose. Exhale. Inhale and lengthen the spine, release shoulders, and then exhaling again, standing forward bend. So you're going to inhale and press your hands on your shins and lengthen your arms to come into a half, standing forward bend, and then once again squeeze and tuck yourself back into the legs. As you're next ready to inhale, bend the knees, raise the arms, moving back to chair. Deep breath. Exhale and stay. Inhale and stand, arms long, armpits open. Exhale, bring the palms together. So let's try that again. Inhale, arms raise, heels raise. Exhale, arms are up, lower the heels, bend the knees. Inhale, lengthen along the spine, open the shoulders. Exhale and fold.
Inhale, lengthen the spine. Shoulders away from the thighs. Exhale, tuck the belly in. Give yourself a bit of a hug here. Inhale, bend the knees, arms up, spine up, chair pose. Exhale and steady yourself. Notice your thighs. Inhale, press up to stand. You can look past your hands if your neck's okay with it. Exhale, palms together and down. One more time. Inhale, arms reach, heels lift. Exhale, stand, and then chair. Inhale, create space. Exhale, and fold. Inhale, lengthen. See if you lean back behind your heels with the hips. Get your weight over your feet. Exhale and fold. Inhale, chair pose. Exhale, stay. Inhale, stand. Exhale, Tadasana. Revisit your stance. Make sure that you're past habit and into asana. Okay, so we're going to need that block again. Or some block alternative. Maybe a book, if you have a book fat enough, 2 books. Okay, so block goes above the knee between the thighs. And depending on the habits of your posture when you stand, this might feel a little too wide for your feet, or perhaps it doesn't feel wide enough, depending. But you want to get heels underneath, thighs squeezing strongly, and the front of the thighs engaging so that the kneecaps lift up toward the hips. It's odd to walk that way. Outside edges of the feet parallel. The weight is balanced over the whole foot, not just the heel or the ball of the foot. So we're going to move to chair pose again. We're going to pause in our chair and hopefully have an awareness of this is the same shape that we were seated in when we were on our bottom and leaning back and twisting, right? So that's where we're going to be going. So the feedback of the block helps us to be very strongly engaged in those musculature regions that we need to stabilize and support a twist. So feeling yourself steady, calm, and standing if your thighs start to be too mad. Then keeping everything in the pelvis all the way to the feet steady as it is. You're going to rotate your shoulders so the chest faces to the right. The right hand can just be a hand, and you're going to put the palm at the sacral area with the fingertips pointing down. And then you can let your hand, your left hand, touch the right thigh somewhere. So we will have made some concessions in our posture to feel like we're doing it more. So just be aware. Is all of your weight on your left foot now? See if you can lean it. Check in with your knees, even in the twist. Just turn your head and look down. Are your knees in line with your toes? Can you feel the breath in the back of your body? Are you crimped out in your back? So Tom, you're going to lean the back of your head back. So chin in slightly. That's it. Beautiful. Good. So now unravel yourself, and depending on you and your body and how you feel today, you could stay in your chair or you can stand up. Right? Chair pose, weight over the whole foot. Do not lean back. That's a tendency I see a lot in chair pose, is to lean back to the heel. The bottom is way behind the heels and the toes are up. Do the reverse of that. You might just need to be in chair for a while to get this steadied. When you're ready to exhale, then the left hand will be palm pressing around the sacral area. You might feel buttocks as you touch down on your low back. The elbow presses out behind you. The ribs rotate. It's really the spine that rotates, but you're feeling the effect in the rib cage. So similar adjustment to what we did seated earlier. As you bend your elbows out, you are able to create a rib cage that has expansiveness through the left and halves, right halves. So the front and the back of the body is unimpeded. One is not more restricted than the other one in the rib area. Obviously, the belly is going to be strongly engaged on one side and more open on the other. Soft face, relax the tongue away from your mouth. Okay. Come on up to stand. Deep breath in, remove your block, set it off to the side. Tadasana. Tongue relaxed away from the roof of the mouth, eyeballs on the horizon, looking but not straining. Okay, so the next bit, we're actually going to use our blocks, both blocks at the same time. So I'm going to go get my own. And we are headed into a lunging shape. So if you want to do hands and knees, please. So hands on blocks to begin, if you would. And we're going to step the left foot forward first. So there is a lot to just finagle when it comes to a lunge. Because again, speaking of borrowing movement, so if we have a lot of restriction in our hips, we're going to end up being sideways because we're trying to get deep into a shape that our body isn't really willing to do. So we have to keep feet are representative of our sit bones. So when we do stuff like this, just to get down further, then we're kind of taking the integrity out of our ground, and that's an unsafe way to twist. It's an unsafe way to do everything. Toes point directly back if possible. So we're going to be opening up the inside of the ankle, which is typically super tight, so just do the best we can. And we might, depending on our form, be more upright. So we allow the hips to be on an even plane. We're feeling the sensation of a block squeeze between the thighs, even though the thighs are nowhere near one another. Let that information that you gained help steady you here. And we'll twist as you're ready. Keeping the knee, the left knee right over the left heel, just rotate in the torso. There's no change in the bottom half here. And depending on who you are and how you are, you're going to put your hand on your low back, and maybe you can lean into it a little bit here in the hips, and maybe not. Maybe you're more upright and it's fine. Okay, so unravel here, and we'll switch. So a nice shape to inhabit for a moment for the sake of symmetry is downward facing dog. We're not going to do a lot of dog today, but just if you bend your knees a lot and press your bottom up toward the floor and lengthen your spine and align it in a neutral way, this is also the exact same shape as our seated half a boat pose with a twist, as our standing chair with a twist. This is all the same shape. All right, come on down. Get your blocks up nice and high so you give yourself lots of space to come into a shape so that you're not rushing to get to the end, but you're learning about how you embody on your way. Okay. Hips are squaring. Shin bone is perpendicular to the ground. Opening up the inner ankle, see if you can get that big toe to press down and out behind you. Inner thighs squeezing an imaginary block. And as you exhale, belly toward the thighs, hand pressing to the low back, and let your elbows bend to create space in the torso to breathe. Smooth breaths. Even breaths. Away from the roof of the mouth. Nice. Excellent. Come on out. Let's do another down facing dog. All right, we're going to do it again. One more time to either side. And if I know it's possible for those of us in the room to go a step further with their balance in a twist, and everyone else can decide if they want to or not. So you're going to come up exactly, move into it exactly as we did a moment ago. Left foot forward. Now we're going to really reach for it, okay? So we're going to find what we need to be upright. So the blocks are a nice steadiness while we get our structure exactly the way we want it to be. Sound, steady, and at ease as much as possible. Deep breaths into the form. Let yourself be aware of where you might be clenching in anticipation already. Relieve anticipation and move into some engagement. That's where we want to be. We want to be engaged, skillfully choosing to move in this way. So hips are down and forward, but the inner thighs are active and supporting the pelvis. And then your exhale is a twist. And this time, if it's accessible, you're going to lean onto the thigh. So once you're in the twist, this might be the extent to which you move, right? So we're just very gently, but persistently creating a contained structure. There's a lot of containment to this shape, and this is why it's very challenging. Now, the real trick is to turn the back toes under. And then lift them. And without crimping out all of the work that you did to get long and aligned in that posture. Very challenging. Letting yourself breathe deeply. Even if it's shorter, it might be shorter, and that's okay. So now, I gotta get out of it though. Right? Yep, I would put the knee down first, personally. Then we do this, and then we do, well, here's what I would do, which you just saw me do a moment ago, is to sit the heel back, the hips back, heel forward and lengthen. You don't have to go all the way down, but if you can, you can. And then we'll switch it out. Excellent. Okay. Same thing on the other side. Prepare yourself. Right? So not in a, no panic.
Trying to take the anticipation, the tension of anticipation out of the form and move purposefully and carefully. You're not moving past where you can go. So this is one of the things. Maybe you stack some blocks and you create the conditions for steadiness. And then you can just play with lifting the knee. There's a whole lot less wobble though if you can get connected. You can get the thigh and the elbow connected. You gotta breathe though. This is my point. I can play with lifting the knee because it's play. But I can feel how closed off my breath is right now. So it's no point to it. Very nice. So if you haven't yet, then lower the knee or unravel, depending on how you like to come out. Very nice. Good, and let's do the same, utilizing the blocks to help support the torso so that we can get some stretch in the bottom half. Excellent. So now I'm going to have a seat. We're going to do staff pose to begin. Santosha, staff pose. Like walking your sit bones right up to the edge of your blanket, feeling supported. Okay, so exaggeration in the knees helps the low back to be nice and long. And then we can gradually bring ourselves to a place where the legs are a little bit straighter. Let's start aligned in the torso first. So the same action of thighs, actually, almost as if your inner thighs were squeezing an invisible block. And there's a strong engagement in the top of the thigh to lift the kneecaps up toward the hip. Eyeballs focus on the floor in front of you between the feet, or perhaps they're closed. It might be a little easier now to create a sense of release in the form and a more careful and specific engagement of musculature. Because it's not a balancing twist pose, it's just sitting down. The other end of that spectrum is after that big balancing twist pose, it's going to be real tempting to just sit down. Let's just try to get ourselves collected a little bit. And my visualization lately for this particular shape is an empty silo. So, empty cylinder, that is your torso. Don't talk. And there's nothing inside of it. There's no impediment to the flow of breath. So you inhale through the top, and that inhalation is so expansive and impressive in the form that you feel like you could be rooted even more into the ground. And then the exhale, there's no loss of the groundedness. There's no release of groundedness. It's steady down. And then from the groundedness, there's an open of freedom in the torso and the feeling of the head. And hopefully some sense of contentment just to be here and to be aware.
Okay, so you're going to relax your legs and let the knees and the feet come out so that you can bend your knees and bring yourself into a round angle. So it depends on your form. You still want to have your sit bones just right at the edge of your blanket. You want to have the soles of the feet together and the inside edge of the feet. If it's possible for that to be separated from one another, that's fine. If it's not, then that's also fine. So we're going to try as best we can to give some release into the inner thigh, since we've used it so much today. So we're going to utilize our arms to help us create alignment and steadiness in the form and allow as much release in the inner thigh as possible. And there's a sense of breath. Again, the top half was unchanged here, right? We just bent the lower joints. So allow yourself to breathe in that empty cylinder kind of way, unrestricted flow of breath that at once enlivens and grounds. So you're going to release and lean back a bit so that you can put your feet up and your knees up in the seat. Feet down, knees up. And we're going to twist. And you're going to rock up onto your right hip. Let your legs fall comfortably. You might even come right off that blanket. This is a nice stretchy kind of twist. We want to give our legs a chance to rest and lengthen and let our torso be a beneficiary of all the space that we've just created for ourselves. So you lean back and let your arms be supportive of the body. Feeling it a nice and comfortable stretch here. Allow yourself to breathe deeply. Come back up to center. You'll come back to sit in the same shape with the knees up, feet apart, and then you'll go the other way. Letting the legs relax to the floor. Leaning back behind your hip here. Let yourself be steady on the arms and nice and soft in the abdomen. So again, coming back to center here. This time, we're going to move into a restorative shape before we do Shavasana. So we're going to do restorative child's pose. You're going to take your big bolster. Maybe you have many blankets rolled up or a pile of clothes. It's a pile of pillows. There's lots of ways to do that. And you're going to kneel with the toes, big toes together, knees wide. And you're going to actually you're going to bring the bolster or whatever your bolster alternative is, you're going to bring it between the thighs, then you're going to lift up so that right from the pelvic bone all the way to the head can be supported. And now maybe you have blankets propped up here to support your neck. You're going to turn your head to a side. And we're just going to pause here. So we will eventually turn the head, and I'll cue that when it's time, but you want to have You want to have a couple minutes of just being completely relieved in the form, allowing yourself to feel so comfortable and supported on your bolster that there's no need for your form. So moving away from that purposeful engagement of musculature in the form to a purposeful release of musculature, where gravity works in the body and everything feels heavy and settled. Allowing yourself to move the breath purposefully in the form here. So not in a heavy-handed way, but just in a kind of an easeful awareness of the flow of the breath in a relaxed shape. Feeling almost like you could paint the back of your body with your breath. Your inhale travels again from the top of your head down to your seat, your tailbone, your glutes, the hamstrings. Everything is awash in breath, open and receptive. And then that exhalation, you travel back to the top of your head, and the exhale allows even more release. Touching your head to the other side. Keep your body comfortable and still.
Take your time. So we're going to move into Shavasana. So making all of your adjustments here. And mostly adjustments, I mean socks and sweaters and scarves and things. You want to make yourself as comfortable as possible. Part of that is being warm. You want to feel that you can lay down and be completely relaxed without feeling a chill. So once you have laid down on your back with the legs wide, palms facing up, and you carried that calm and ease from your sort of posture into your Shavasana shape. And then become aware of the sensations that arise in the form. Noticing the parts of your back body that touch down the most firmly. And as your body becomes heavier, as it is less tense, notice how those places touch down a little more firmly. And even the pieces of the form that don't touch down, at least relax toward the ground. Allowing yourself the sense of release from the scalp, around and through the body. So there's a sense of release in the skin of the face, in the jaw, and even back into the sinuses, into the cavity of the mouth. The lips are together, but the teeth are parted. Tongue's down. Feeling the openness of the throat and ease in the neck. And there's a release that happens from the back of your head, down the neck, and out across the tops of the shoulders. Releasing the arms, hands, and fingers. Feeling a sense of the rib cage settling to the ground. And there is an openness, an unrestricted sense of openness in the chest cavity, so that the heart and the lungs move without effort. They have plenty of space. Releasing through the solar plexus, the diaphragm, and out into the belly. Feeling the organs settle into the back body as the back body settles into the ground. And the pelvis feels like a comfortable weight, a grounded point. And from that steadiness, the legs can release, knees soften, ankles and feet relax. And allowing your sense of awareness in the abdomen. So your awareness settles then within the realm of the body.
behind the belly button. And without trying, observe the flow of the breath. Feeling rocked by that steady, comfortable rhythm of breath in the belly. Actually, going to bring it back in movement. Noticing fingers and toes, wrists, ankles, knees, and elbows. Taking deeper breaths. You can give yourself a bit of a hug, or you can give a good stretch, or both. Moving on to your right side, just for a round or two of breath so that you get a good sense of the calm effortlessness that exists currently within you. And when you're ready, come on up and have a seat. Oh, and together we're going to touch our face. So, allow yourself to get upright and comfortable. Propped up appropriately, so depending on your form, maybe 2 blankets, maybe 1 blanket, a blanket folded in half. So for a moment, just sink into it. Allow yourself to find a simple seated posture and observe. Notice that it's easier to be grounded, to feel comfortably settled on the earth, that the alignment isn't as much of an effortful picking. Your spine grows long out of the pelvis in a way that allows for an openness in the front body, of ease in the neck, and the breath is unrestricted. So we're going to nadi shodhana. You're going to take the first 2 fingers, the first finger and the middle finger of the right hand, and bend them to press the pad of the thumb here, the meat of the thumb. And we're going to use the thumb and the ring finger to valve the nostrils. So there's a little bit of a flick of the wrist here, a little bit of the angle to wrist, and you lift the elbow high so it can be high up on your chest. So you bend the wrist to meet the nose, and you lower the chin to meet the wrist, and your nose, the bridge of your nose tucks right into the space created, a little notch created by the first 2 fingers. The rest of the form stays as is, stays comfortable, long and effortless. And we're going to breathe through the right nostril first. So you're closing off the left nostril, taking an inhale through the right, and then closing off the right nostril and exhaling left. Inhaling through the left nostril, and then closing it and exhaling through the right. And that's 1 round. And you'll inhale without trying. To the right, exhale left. Inhale left and exhale right as your natural flow of breath occurs. So if this creates any tension, if an effort creeps in and you start to feel anxious, you're going to let the arm relax back to the leg and do it mentally. Just pretend. If you're feeling comfortable and calm, you're going to use your fingers. So we'll finish with the hand in place with an exhalation through the right nostril. Once that comes around again for you, exhale through the left, through the right, my apologies. And then allow your hand to release. And have an experience now of breath through both nostrils. Allowing yourself the sensation, the awareness of 2 streams of breath entering the body and merging into 1 stream. as it moves back into the middle of the body. In one stream as you exhale, feeling that sensation of one stream break into two streams as the breath leaves the body through the nostrils. Two streams enter, merging into one, moving up into the nostrils and into the midbrain, right into the very center of your head. Exhaling then as one, breaking into two to exit out both nostrils. Long and smooth, unrestricted breathing, calm and steady. If it helps, you can visualize the breath as a white light, two streams entering the nostrils, merging into one bright white light that collects at that midbrain point. Exhaling out, two streams exit. Smoothly relieving yourself of the movement, still feeling the breath flowing, but allow your awareness to settle within the center of your head, almost like a planetarium, settling into a comfortable darkness, your awareness not dimmed by the dark. The light you've been breathing in is a steady, bright white. Allow yourself now to release the back of the neck, lowering the chin. Bring the palms together. You're going to rub them briskly to create warmth in the palms. And then when you feel that they have enough warmth, let the palms rest over your closed eyes, letting the warmth seep into your head. And releasing the palms to press together and the thumbs touching the sternum of the chest. Feeling centered, feeling steady. Allow yourself to notice that place in the center of your chest now that the heart is resides. Allow yourself to grow some gratitude from that space. Just a tiny pinprick at first. It's just existing. Let's start with existing. I am grateful to exist. When that little seed can really start growing fast, if you think about it. And allow your whole body to feel gratitude. But I am very grateful for yoga, and I am glad that you're here. Thank you for coming. Namaste.
Namaste.